Judge Dredd is a special case all on its own. It takes place in its own society in a post-cataclysm Earth. The structure of the society combines all the facets of the legal system into a faction called judges.
They were the police, jury, and executioner all in one. They were the judges.
At first glance, it's just a popcorn action flick with Sylvester Stallone blowing up things at Kingdom Come and shooting all the bad guys. However, the film does highlight the different facets of our legal system that now only the judges execute. The most obvious is acting as law enforcement. The judges patrol the streets looking for crime, serve and protect, though more in the style of Dirty Harry and Roy Bean. We see Dredd, Stallone of course, issuing tickets, suspending licenses, and arresting individuals. The judges also act as a court judge on the street. Dredd initiates an instant trial on Fergie, Rob Schneider, when he catches him trying to hide inside of a robot. Fergie enters a plea of not guilty, to which Dredd responds,
"Boy, am I glad to see you!"
Dredd takes the role of judge and jury by declaring him guilty and sentencing him to imprisonment.
How do you plead?
Not guilty?
I knew you'd say that.
Lawyers are even represented as Judge Hershey, played by Diane Lane, acts as counsel for Dredd when he is on trial. Dredd is definitely a hanging judge. He is harsh with defendants, especially those accused of capital crimes. To wit, he tends to shoot the majority of them. And he hands out brutal sentences for the most minor infractions, such as blowing up a car for a suspended license.
I knew you'd say that.
Hey, wait a second. What are you doing?
Grenade! Grenade!
The man of action judge is popular in the action movie genre. It allows a judge to lead the courtroom and dispense justice, and be the center of the story. However, the most popular type of hanging judge is not so honorable. They are downright villainous. These things keep popping up. There are varying degrees of villainous judges, ranging from simply biased to evil incarnate. On the low end of the scale, the evil judges are biased judges. They are simply biased to one side, usually the antagonist, over the other to a point of being corrupt. Rainmaker is a 1997 film based on the John Grisham book of the same name, and is starring Matt Damon as Rudy Baylor. Baylor is a recent law school graduate struggling to plant his feet in the world of litigation. In his first case, just after passing the bar, but not licensed, he appears in front of Judge Harvey Hale, played by Dean Stockwell. When Hale learns that Baylor is not licensed, he angrily tries to banish him from his courtroom. Only when the defense attorney and Hale's college roommate, Leo Drummond, played by John Voight, vouches for Baylor, no doubt seeing an easy victory from a rookie lawyer, is Baylor sworn in by Hale. The story moves into the judge's chamber where Drummond makes Baylor an offer while Hale is inside the bathroom. Then Drummond goes to the bathroom and Hale asks if an offer was made. When Baylor answers the affirmative, Hale encourages him to take it. Baylor realizes that Hale and Drummond had tried to, in his words,
"That was not a meeting in chambers, that was an ambush."
What happened?
They tag teamed me.
Hale goes on to decide every ruling in favor of Drummond. Fortunately for Baylor, Hale dies of a heart attack. And is replaced by Tyrone Kipler, played by Danny Glover, who is more sympathetic to Baylor's cause. Kipler is a throwback to the fair judges of the golden age of law films, who decided the matter of law not with their bias. Hale and Kipler act as mirror images of each other. They are indicative of what a hanging judge and an invisible judge represent. The verdict is another appearance by Paul Newman, as attorney Frank Galvin, who is trying a medical malpractice case against the Catholic Archdiocese of Boston, represented by Ed Concan, played by James Mason, in front of Judge Hoyle, Milo O'Shea. When Glavin puts his medical expert on the stand, Hoyle wants a break for lunch. When Gavin insists on having his expert testify first, Hoyle relents. Midway through, Hoyle angrily takes over the questioning and discredits the expert. He then orders a recess and we cut to his chambers, where you find waiting on his desk is his suit that has been there the entire time. Hoyle destroyed Galvin's expert witness just because his suit was getting cold. Judges Hale and Hoyle are antagonists in their films. However, they are biased to one side and corrupt, but neither of them is overtly evil. This place is getting dangerous. The Star Chamber is a 1983 film starring Michael Douglas as Judge Stephen Hardin. Hardin becomes increasingly distraught over having to release criminals who are obviously guilty on search and seizure technicalities. Eventually, he is approached by his friend, Judge Benjamin Caulfield, played by Hal Holbrook. Hardy is introduced by a group of 9 judges that meet in private to discuss cases in which the defendants appear to have gotten off on such technicalities. If they decide the defendant was really guilty, they hire an assassin to kill them. This is another type of judges that have left the courtroom behind to do their dirty work. However, they still fit the definition of hanging judge because they treat their defendants harshly and so severely to the point that they will assassinate them, despite what the proper law requires. They disregard the jury and pass a death sentence. Only requirement is that they have deemed it justified. So there you have it. Now there are judges out there that are outright evil, but unfortunately for this presentation I was unable to...
Remember me, Eddie?
Uh-oh.
When I killed your brother, I talked.
A cheap example of a murderous judge can be found in the 1988 film Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Judge Doom, played by Christopher Lloyd, bought the election to become judge of Toontown.
How did that gargoyle get to be a judge?
Spread a bunch of simoleons around Toontown a couple years back. Bought the election.
He presides over his district with an iron fist, executing the otherwise indestructible Dooms at his whim without any semblance of a trial. Unlike the judges in the Star Chamber, Doom is not trying to accomplish justice. He has hatched a scheme.
A construction plan of epic proportions. They are calling it a freeway.
He commits a series of murders in order to buy the property from probate. This is all just to put a freeway through Toontown. And his method of getting the Toons out of the way? Genocide.
Oh my God, it's dead!
That's right, my dear!
Doom wants to exterminate an entire life form, at least in the film's world at any rate, just for his own financial gain. With Doom, there is no illusion of justice being served. He is a judge that arbitrarily finds the Toons guilty and executes them. The hanging judge has cemented his place in pulp culture and film. While the invisible judge of the Golden Age cinema does not completely disappear, he is appearing much less frequently than the hanging judge. Judges today are more likely to be something other than just a symbol or a plot necessity. The prominence of the hanging judge in cinema seems to be reflected upon the public at large. Presently, the public remains less inclined to defer to judges as an authority figure. Thus, it's hardly surprising that the film industry is likely to assign as much evil and flaws in a judge as are assigned other characters. A Center for State Courts study in 1999 found that 69% of those polled only had some or little confidence in their courts. 8% had no confidence at all. 61.4% used media as an important source for their opinions. Seems like a foregone conclusion that the hanging judge will remain in pulp culture for the foreseeable future. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this and maybe learned a little bit of something. So we'll catch you next time.
Trademark stupidity.
A little nonsense now and then is relished by the wisest men.